जय भीम, जय मूल्यवासी, जय संविधान, जय भारत. Welcome you to MNT Network. Today is Sunday, and as all of you know, every Sunday we are organizing various discussion in English language so that the maximum mass for the southern part as well as the NRIs they can get maximum information on the current topics that are going on. And today is 15th of September. So today is also a very special day. And today, as you might be aware that today, as of 15th September, it is celebrated. Today's day is celebrated as International Day of Democracy. Worldwide, this day is celebrated, and today we are discussing about this particular topic of celebration of International Day of Democracy. And today we had with us Dr. Munesh Kumar, sir. He is professor in the Lucknow University, UP, and he is going to share his views on this particular topic of International Day of Democracy, lessons for Indian democracy. So this is the topic that we are going to discuss. So without wasting time, I would like to invite Professor Dr. Munesh Kumar sir to studio. Sir, welcome to MNT News Network.
Jai Bhim, Jai Nivasi to all the viewers of MNT News Network. Yeah. Thank you, SSG.
Jai Bhim, Jai Mullah, sir. So as today the worldwide 15th of September is celebrated as International Day of Democracy. So to start with, we would like to know from you why United Nations General Assembly they resolved to observe this particular day as 15th September, this day as International Day of Democracy. What was the basic purpose?
Basically, Ashish ji, in 2007, United Nations General Assembly resolved to observe 15th September as the International Day of Democracy, with the purpose and promoting and upholding the principles of democracy. General Assembly of the United Nations invited all member states and organizations to commemorate that day in an appropriate manner that contributes to raising public awareness. United Nations General Assembly believes that democracies share common features. It is not particular or limited to some nations, but it is a universal value. There is no single model of democracy, and democracy does not belong to any country or region. Democracy is a universal value based on freely expressed will of people to determine their own political, economic, social, and cultural systems, and their full participation in all aspects of life. It means the United Nations General Assembly resolved to create an awareness worldwide, because democracy is the single best form of governance with the people's participation, and peoples have to decide their own fate in the areas of political, in the areas of economic, social, and cultural systems. So United Nations General Assembly is to create or to build up an awareness among the youth, especially among the youth of the world, to celebrate it as a festival and uphold the values of democracy worldwide.
Right, sir. So as you had said that there are various forms of government, like there is democracy, there is a monarchical democracy, representative democracy, there is monarchy, or there is constitutional monarchy, or dictatorship somewhere is there. So among these different forms of government that do exist worldwide, how do you see this democracy, its values, and why this democracy is the most popular form of government which is accepted worldwide?
Basically, democracy is regarded as the most popular form of government due to various reasons. As you discussed, many forms of democracy. But in democracy, there are a value system. For example, one is citizen participation. Democracy allows citizens to participate in the decision making of the matters important to their lives. This process of decision making make maybe direct or indirect or through the elective representatives, but citizen participation is mandatory in the democracy. So it is very important कि if we are preparing such citizens to participate in democracy, in the governance of the democracy, it means we have to create an awareness among the citizens who are participating in the democratic process. Second, protection of rights and freedoms. It means in the democracy is safeguarding individual rights and freedoms such as freedom of speech, religion, and assembly. It means this form of democracy is create to protection the rights and freedom of individuals. Next, accountability and transparency is the beauty of this system of governance. For example, if we are talking about in a dictatorial form of government, there is no accountability is fixed and there is no transparency. We can't ask any question from a dictator. But in democracy, accountability and transparency is fixed, and elected representatives or officials in a democracy are accountable to the people. Rule of law ensures that leaders and officials can be held responsible and transparent in their actions. It means it means the leaders who are elected by the pupils are directly responsible to them, and they have to evolve such type of transparent system in their actions in order to win the trust of the voters, because in democracies elections are the beauty of the democracies. So in order to win the election, our political leaders have to win the trust of the voters. Next important aspect of democracies is the prevention of the autocracy. Prevention of the autocracy prevents the concentration of power in few hands or small groups. Even though in today's democracies in our India, some pupils or small groups are trying to dictating or trying to concentrate all the power. For example, in economic power, if we talk about the economic power, then Adani and Ambani is concentrating all the economic powers. And besides economic powers, they are deciding many political decisions on behalf of the political parties. But if we create an awareness among the citizens of a nation, then they can question their representatives to seize the powers or oversized capitalism. Next is economic and social benefits. Democracy try to minimize the socio-economic inequalities, because if we describe aim of Constitution of India in Indian context, then its aim is to minimize the socio-economic inequalities of the society. So this is the why democracy is the most popular form of the government all over the country. These are the various reasons.
Right, sir. So you had elaborated on the different forms of democracy and why democracy is different forms of government and why democracy is most popular form of government worldwide is accepted. And as far as the yeah, we are discussing about Indian context. So in Indian context, there are various discussions, there are various debates and discussions on the forms of government, which form of government will be good for India. And in Indian context, how do you see the establishment and development of democracy as far as the after the British government in 1947 they handed over India to us. How do you see the form and establishment of democracy?
Uh, in Indian context, democracy is established, or modern democracy is established in 1950 with the adoption of the Constitution of India. But this is modern democracy. But it is believed, and Baba Sahib Dr. Ambedkar rightly remarked the history of Buddhism, that Buddhist philosophy embraces all the values of democracy as we are talking in modern times. And he referred uh, history or many references when he discussed that we are not borrowed this idea from the French Revolution, but Dr. Ambedkar said, I borrowed this idea from Buddhist philosophy or from my master who practiced these values over 2000 years ago on this land. But as we talk about modern democracies, so it starts with the adoption of the Constitution of India in 1950. It laid the foundation of democratic republic on the principles of equality, freedom, fraternity, and justice. What we got from this constitution, from the very first day, with the adoption of this constitution ensures that politically we are equal by providing universal adult franchise, and it was one of the significant steps allowing every adult citizen the right to vote regardless of caste, creed, religion, or gender. And I think India is the only nation who provides universal adult franchise at a one point of time to all the citizens of all the citizens. Otherwise, in many of the countries or most of the countries, all the citizens never got the universal adult franchise as at a time. For example, uh, if we talk about or if we discussed about US model, then the blacks achieved this right much later than the whites. Women achieved this right later than the white males. It is the exception, or India is the exception, or it is only because of the uh, tireless efforts of Dr. Ambedkar that he ensured that I will provide all its citizens the universal as adult franchise. So it brings a political equality at a single point of time to all its nationals, all its that every individual is now involved in the process of nation building, because if we cast our votes in elections, it is not to elect our representatives, but a feeling of nation building also emerged within us. Keeping in that, we elect our representatives. That is why our political parties bring their political agendas or manifestos in front of the citizens, if what they are going to plan or what are they are planning to planning for national building. So manifesto is one of the important or significant document of the political parties. Second thing, if we discuss about the development of the democracy, which is a second part of this question, one was associated with the establishment of the democracy, and second is development of the democracy. So development is a evolution process, or we are also passing through right now. But in early years there are some challenges, and one of the challenge was integration of the princely states and management of the socio-economic challenges of newly democratic nation. For example, as soon as we got freedom, we divided into two parts. One is Pakistan and second is India. So there are many challenges. There are many communal rights, and besides communal rights, many princely states are not willing to integrate with India. So it is one of the bigger challenges uh, before independent nation, but we addressed all it successfully. Second is the political landscape, and political landscape was that democratic politics became the process of emerging nation. Dr. Ambedkar rightly said that with the implementation of this constitution, we will be political equal, but in social and economic inequalities will prevail much longer, and we need to address them, social and economic inequalities, within a time framework. And if we are unable to achieve these economic and social inequality, it means it will create a threat to our uh, India as a nation. So it is very important aspect that democratic politics became the process of the emerging nations, and since last 70 or 75 years, we are observing that the initial political parties, those who are ruling this nation for a long period of time, now they are not in power. So they are again now trying to create their politics on the basic principles of the democracy or basic principles of the Constitution of India. They are now raising all these issues which are Constitution of India directed to them. But for a longer period of time, they denied all these principles from their politics. I'm talking about Congress. Congress many times denied the basic principles of socio-economic inequality. It plans many policies, but implementation was so weaker that we can't achieve the visible results of that policies. Second important or third important aspect is creation and strengthening of democratic institutions, and it was very much uh, important aspect of the uh, Indian democracy, that democratic institutions like Election Commission of India, UGC, Judiciary, and many more are created with the as per the direction of the Constitution of India. But creation is one thing, strengthening is very much important. And today we are raising many questions, or the pupils are raising many questions, or I can say that pupils don't have trust on the democratic institutions created by the Constitution of India. For example, Election Commission of India is under big question. Judiciary, especially higher judiciary, under big question, and pupils are now saying that the decisions of the higher judiciary is dictated by the political parties who are in power. So this is again a very important or a significant aspect, that in Indian context we need to not only to create but to strengthen the democratic institutions like Election Commission of India, UGC, CBI, ED. Next important aspect is social and economic reforms, and this is a very important aspect, that we need to plan such policies which are able to, or which are able to minimize the socio-economic inequalities. So planning is one aspect and implementation is second aspect. Planning and implementation of the policies to address the socio-economic inequalities. Now problem or post 1991 problem is very much severe, that with the implementation of new economic policy in July 1991, Government of India or Congress-led Government of India implemented liberalization, privatization, and policies of globalization. And with the implementation of these policies, many things which the Constitution of India directed to implement, plan and implement uh, from the government in the directive principles of state policies, government withdraw constant support or withdraw or snatch away their hands from that responsibility. For example, in 1991, uh, or with the World Trade Organizations, we have signed one treaty where that is GATS, General Agreement on Trade and Services. And with the signing of that treaty, education and health became the tradable commodity. And when education and health became the tradable commodity, then the cost of education and health is passed on to the beneficiary, these beneficiary of these two services. It means end user. It means the person who is trying to get higher education or education, he have to borrow the expenses of education. That is why since 1991 now today, what we are observing, that those fee structure which are in just rupees. In last evening, I was talking to my one of the friend, and he said that I paid only 650 rupees for my MEd course. And now with the privatization, now students are paying around 90,000 rupees for this course. And it is it is in the last 20 years. This is the situation. Second thing is, we don't have employment. And if we don't have employment, then pupils are employed in such employments, and they are providing them only 15 to or 10 to 15,000 per month, and fee structure is very high. Health is expenses on health are very high. Public hospitals are almost in a very poor or pathetic conditions. So this is again a severe problem. And second thing is, in 2023, or the report published by uh, uh, Oxfam International, it claimed that when during the COVID period, the incomes of the pupil decreasing, the Adani's income was increasing with the 800% rate. It means ki there are many challenges in Indian context if we are talking that it is entirely this political system or political era is differently implementing the economic policies. The goal of economic policy shall be to minimize the economic inequalities, and the goal of the social policy shall be to minimize the social inequalities of caste, inequalities of gender. These are the inequalities. So Azizi, in Indian conditions, situation is very much serious. But even though government of India or the pupils of this nation, okay, we the people of India, trying to establishing this nation and developing this nation's democracy and trying to protect it.
Right, sir. Very well said, sir, about the form of government that is existing and how it is developing. Now, as far as the form of Indian democracy is considered, there are various institutes, public institutes are there, private institutes are there. There are various agencies working for different sectors. So considering all these things, even though in a democratic setup it is meant by by the citizens to the citizens, so the governance is for the last man. But as far as Indian democracy is considered, though there are various institutions, though there are various organizations that are looking for overall development of the last citizen of India, and as far as his overall progress is considered, the setup is such a way that if it is working in a proper democratic way, definitely the last person can get help. But as you said, right from 1919 90s, after 1990s, the situations are becoming worse. And though there are provisions of these institutions, but they are not working for the basic purpose they are meant for. So, considering all these things, even though there are setup, even though there are organization, even the democratic setup itself is a fulfilled governance process, if it is not working to the proper way, or its main objective, main agenda, then as you said that it is the citizens who can raise a voice, or who can ask questions to any of the institutions. So like this, what are the various ways that if the people are not getting their basic rights, or if the democratic setup is not functioning properly, then what the last man or what the citizen of India should do?
Uh, Ashish, uh, success of democracy depends on the beneficiaries of this democracy. So we need to create an awareness program for the masses. If we are successful in creating such type of programs among the masses, for the that you are the beneficiary of this democracy, then our purpose will be solved. But besides that, it is very important to make them aware about why elections is meant for them. Yeah, how election is a means of revolution for them, because most of the or majority of the voters are still illiterate. They think that whatever political parties or political leaders whom are elected by them are doing for their welfare, it is a mercy. It is not mercy. We have to make them aware that it is not mercy. It is their right. It is their duty. And it is your right to ask them all the benefits which Constitution of India is directed uh, the political parties or the political parties in power. So it is a important aspect. But what we are observing in today's India, it is that political polarization is everywhere we are observing. What is political polarization? That we are trying to create a one party system. Political parties are trying to create an awareness among the citizens that multiple party or multi-party system is not good for this country. It is wastage of resources. It is wastage of time. So there shall be only two party system. One is in power and second is in opposition. But especially with the implementation of the Mandal Commission report, what we are observing that the political parties, regional political parties emerged all of a sudden. In Bihar, there is a political party which is led by Lalu Prasad Yadav ji. In Uttar Pradesh, Kashi Ram ji and Mulayam Singh Yadav ji, and many other political parties, regional political parties emerged. So these political parties led this nation towards democratization of the politics. Because if we move towards two political party system, it means that is controlled by upper caste peoples or upper caste ruling class. But with the emergence of the regional political parties, many pupils from Mool Nivasi Bahujan Samaj starting leading their own political parties, and they say their say in the political power, or many political parties formed the government in various states in UP and Bihar is the examples, and Tamil Nadu is another one of the important example. So political polarization can hinder effective governance and many compromises which are essential for effective functioning of democracy, which are not essential for effective functioning of democracy. So, political polarization is not the way for democracies like India. For example, in 2014, present government achieved a uh, full majority government, formed a full majority government, and what this government did? This government planned such economic policies which favors. Oxfam International Report also points out that this government plans or prepare policies in favor of 1% population or in favor of industrialists. This government is not preparing policies for the welfare of the common man. This point is raised by Oxfam International Report. Such type of observation is also made by World Inequality Lab report. So these are the situations. Second important aspect with the implementation of the constitution is voter suppression and gerrymandering. It means efforts to suppress votes, manipulate elections, undermine the principles of fair representation. And what we are observing, that the electronic voting machine was implemented too with the idea to free and fair elections. But what we are observing, that in majority, and these are the observations of the many political leaders, many advocates, many officials, that EVM can be manipulated in favor of the political parties who are in the government, because the state machinery is misused by the political parties. Second important aspect is, or third important aspect is judicial overreach. Judicial overreach, in some cases, courts have taken on roles that are seen as overly political, which can erode public trust in judiciary. How judicial overreach is, in today's majority of the population is unable to move courts in general, and high courts or supreme courts in particular, he can't bear fees, they can't bear fees. So this is the situation, that the higher judiciary is not democratized, and if we are not able to democratize the highest judiciary, then it is far away from the common peoples, and if it is far away from the common peoples, then a mistrust for the judiciary is emerging will be emerged among the nationals of this nation. It means this democratic institution will be weakened, and if this democratic institution will be weakened, then the constitution of India is also again weakened. Next important aspect is economic inequalities. As I discussed earlier also, wealth disparities can lead to unequal political influence. Who are contesting elections today? Who are winning elections today? They are all who are crorpatis, those who are having enough money to contest elections, because elections are political parties are manipulating elections, and electoral bond scheme of the electoral bond proved that political parties misused many corporate houses to raise funds, and they utilized that funds to influence the elections. So if economic inequalities continues for long, then the pupils, those who don't have enough funds to contest elections, but their spirit is positive, their agenda is clear, and if they wish to contest election, they never participate in this process, and if they participate in their process, they can never win an election. So this is a severe situation or a grave situation where a small group of wealthy individuals or corporates have outsized sway over political decisions. Adani is one of the examples. But what about Mukesh Ambani's? What about Sunit Mittal's? And what about many other gharanas? Oxfam International report suggested that if Government of India wish to create enough funds for education and health, it has to implement only 2% of surcharge tax only on 167 corporate houses, and it will create a lot of funds that government of India can easily manage the affairs of education and health. One of the important aspect of the political parties led by especially upper caste leadership is that they are not still ready to implement the Constitution of India in letter and spirit. And when we talk about letter and spirit, then we have to think about Constitution of India in 1950, what our framers of the Constitution of India, Dr. Ambedkar, observed or thinking with the implementation of this Constitution of India. But in 2024, what we are observing that these political parties are not trying to implement this Constitution of India in letter or spirit. So this is a very severe situation, Ashish.
Yes, sir. Definitely, as far as this overall form of democracy is considered, there are various ways, and the Indian citizens or the people for whom the rights are made, if they are made aware, then definitely they can ask for their rights. So it was a very, very positive message that has been given by you on this particular topic. Finally, to our viewers, what message you would like to convey as far as the democracy of India is considered?
Uh, Democracy can be protected through, as I said earlier, mass awareness towards the Constitution of India. It means educating citizens about their rights and duties, can empower them to participate actively in the democratic process. And I do appreciate BAMSEF that it has launched BS4 nationwide campaign in 2018 from Bodh Gaya for creating a mass awareness in the citizens of India for the Constitution of India. And from 2018 onwards, BombSafe is doing well. And now what happened? That with the implementation of that program, what we are observing within a limited or within a short span of 6 years, that every political party, whether it is in government or whether it is in opposition, everyone is talking about the Constitution of India. So it is one of the achievement. But now we have to focus much on the direction how this Constitution of India being implementation. There is not only to say the Constitution of India is in danger, but the political parties, either they are in government or in against, now they have to develop their own blueprint, that how they can implement this Constitution of India for the welfare of the peoples or the welfare of the citizens. Second thing, creation is one of the aspect, creation of the democratic institution is one of the aspect of this Constitution of India, like ECI, Election Commission of India, CBI, ED, judiciary, free press. But now strengthening is very much important. That strengthening of the democratic institutions is need of the time. We have created, but what Election Commission of India is doing, it is a Katputli, or it is dancing on the tune of the political parties. But CBI is doing, CBI and ED is doing, CBI and ED is also dancing on the tune of the political parties. And judiciary, last few days, couple of days back, we have observed that Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the Chief Justice of India was, I think, in Ganpati Puja at Chief Justice of India's house. And what they are doing there? What are trying to pass on them, trying to passing the message? One who is custodian of the Constitution of India, and second is who is executive head of the Constitution of India. They are openly observing pujas. If this is the secular nation, then the Constitution shall be the religion of this very nation. And if someone is holding in an official position, then he must regard, or he must direct his behavior as per the spirit of the Constitution of India. Next important aspect is free and fair elections. To safeguard electoral integrity by providing equal opportunities for all the candidates. It is open to all, that everyone can contest the elections, but these opportunities are not equal. One political leader is spending crores of rupees, and second is just limiting its expenditure about say 50,000. So who is more influential? Who is managing, or who is spending much resources on in order to win his election? So what need to create, or what type of system we need to create now, that it should be mandatory that no one can contest election with their own money. Now Election Commission of India asked each candidate to deposit 50,000 rupees, and Election Commission of India sponsored all the election expenses to the all candidates in order to ensure equal opportunities for contesting elections. Next important aspect is protecting civil liberties, which our Constitution of India ensures, but everywhere civil liberties are under threat. We have examples from Madhya Pradesh, we have examples from Uttar Pradesh, we have examples from Maharashtra, and many more, and still a live example from Manipur. So, we need to create civil liberties, or civil liberties can be protected by protecting journalists in order to provide them an opportunities to free and fair press responsibilities. Activists and opposition leaders from harassment, and ensuring that laws are not misused to suppress voices of dissent. Dissent is the beauty of the democracy. But what we are observing through CBI, ED, and higher judiciary, government is trying to suppress the voice of dissent, the voice of the opposition leaders, the voice of the dissent of the common pupils. So it is one of the important aspect that we need to create a system to protect civil liberties. Next very important aspect is ensure political accountability, because politics without accountability is waste of time. Holding elections official accountable through transparent governance and anti-corruption measures can build trust in democratic institutions and democracy. We have introduced Right to Information Act. But what is the situation of this Right to Information Act? During COVID, a separate fund was created to face the situation of the worsened situation of the COVID, and that was Prime Minister's fund. And what PMO said, that it is free from RTI. No one can ask any information from this fund under the Right to Information Act. It means that we need to create some more transparent governance at every level. And this transparency not only need to implement it in the government run institutions, but it is also equivalent in the private institutions. How they can be free from these RTI's informations or RTI Act, but Government of India free them, that you are not in the purview of this Right to Information Act. Next is adoption of the model of the inclusive governance. Inclusive governance, what we are observing right now or till now, that in most of the top positions in judiciary, in executive, or in legislative, and in press, they are all taken by upper caste pupils. And when they are sitting on these higher positions, they are not implementing the Constitution of India. But what they are doing, they are protecting the rights of their class or their caste or the backgrounds from they are coming. So this is the situation. So we need to create a model and we need to implement it, that the model of the inclusive governance, ensuring representation to the Mool Nivasi Bahujans and women in the decision making process of the democracy and it will strengthen the democracy and the constitution of India as well. Ashish.
Thank you very much, sir, for elaborating the various measures that Indian citizens should take care. And definitely, if they are aware of their rights and they are aware of how to execute their rights, then definitely the democracy can survive for what purpose it is made for. Thank you very much for joining today. We have short of time, and today already we had exhausted the time. So I would like to thank you from MNT Network for joining today and elaborating more on
Thank
this.
you, Ashish. Thank you for
Thank
inviting
you,
me on such
thank you,
important topic.
thank you, sir. Jai Bhim, Jai Mulya. So it was Dr. Munesh Kumar ji who was with us and he was explaining his views on today's International Day of Democracy, as it is 15th of September, and this 15th of September is celebrated as International Day of Democracy worldwide. So today he gives his views and how Indian citizens can protect their rights and can protect the democracy with what it is meant for. So thank you very much for joining today, and this video will be there in this particular link. Do share, like, and comment this particular video and pass this important information to all your friend circle within through the social media, and hope you will pass on this information to all. Thank you very much for joining today. Jai Bhim, Jai Mulyavasi, Jai Savidhan, Jai Bharat.